Hey guys, welcome to Hidden Valley Homestead. Today we're going to do the Hiawatha Trail. It is rails to trail, where they have taken some of the last sections of the Transcontinental Railroad that were built and converted it to a mountain bike trail. This is a great trail, guys. It's 15 miles long, and it's definitely a great day for the family. So if you guys want to take a look at some of the footage, some of it I'm going to narrate, some of it you're going to hear the audio. You guys can check out the trail for yourself and show you what it's like. And at the end, if you guys stick around, I'll give you guys some hints and some recommendations for doing the trail. You're going to see families with little kids there. You can see old people, people going up the trail, down the trail. It's just a beautiful family fun day with beautiful scenery out in God's creation. So check out the footage and then stick around to the end. And if you guys like the content, hey, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment.
Welcome to Hidden Valley Homestead, where my wife Olivia and I escaped the city to homestead our off-grid property in Idaho. This is our journey. So where you're going to go after you pick up your bicycle rentals at the lodge, right there off of the I-90, is you're going to take a trail up to the main trailhead up at East Portal. That's where you're going to put your stickers on. You have to pay to be on the trail, so everybody has to have a sticker on their bike. Then you're going to be riding your bike through the parking lot. We were there probably about, I think it was 9:30 or so in the morning, and the parking lot was already getting pretty full. They provide snacks, drinks. You can get waters and Gatorades. They also provide water for free, and they have all kinds of points of interest that tell you exactly what was happening at those points as the Transcontinental Railroad was being built. There's some really amazing information there. The struggles that the miners went through, the struggles that the construction workers went through. It was definitely a different time, a different era. Now, the very, very first thing that you're going to go through is a 1.6 mile long tunnel. It is every bit of that 1.6 miles. The temperature inside of this tunnel is 45 degrees. So if you get cold easily, like my beautiful bride does, she took a little light sweater with her, and that really helped. Now, this time of year, I would imagine water's pouring out of the ceiling and the walls all year round, because it's way underground and it's a long ways. But there was definitely a lot of water, and there's a little sign that actually states so that it may be soft. You're going to see that coming up here. The ground may be soft and muddy. They do grade it, and they put rock and gravel in there to try and mitigate that. But you're definitely going to get some mud splatters up on your behind from your tire flinging the mud up. So be prepared for that. And you absolutely have to have lights. If you rent a bike, they'll give you a headlamp for your bike. If you're going to bring your own bike, you need to bring a headlamp or a bike light of some sort. Here's the beginning of the tunnel. It's pretty amazing, and you can feel the cold air flowing out of that tunnel as you ride up to the front of the tunnel. You can also see how much water is coming out of the tunnel. Now, when we went up, it was supposed to be 100 degrees down in the valley. Up there in the mountains, we were probably, I forget what the elevation is. I think it's around 4,000 feet. It was probably 10 to 15 degrees cooler. You can see families with bike trailers and little tykes on the little bikes. That's how easy the trail is, and it's downhill the whole way. Gently sloping downhill. It's not steep. Remember, it was a railroad track at one point, a railroad path. And so trains need pretty level ground to go on. And it gets dark very quickly, as you can see. And stop and look at all the mineral deposits on the walls and the stalactites coming out of the ceiling. And then when you think that you've gone a long ways, 5,800 feet, Well, the first tunnel is 8,771 feet long, and it seems like it's forever before you get to the other end. But then finally, you see the light at the end of the tunnel. Speed that up a little bit for you. It was a refreshing ride, and there are many tunnels along the way, but that's the longest one. Now keep in mind, when they drop you off at the drop-off point below, you have to ride backwards through that tunnel 1.6 miles to the parking lot. And right at the end of the tunnel, there's a beautiful waterfall. Everybody stops to take pictures there. And we didn't see anybody getting in the water. It was hot, but it wasn't that hot. More information plaques describing the lifestyle that these people had, and another tunnel. You can see the old telephone wires going through. All the minerals that are coming out of the walls. Just amazing. Now this one was actually completely coated in cement. There are certain sections of some of these tunnels that you can actually see the rock walls. They don't have them all lined with cement. This particular tunnel you actually have to share with some of the buses as they're taking people back and forth. There's a couple of miles where you do have to share the road, so keep that in mind as well. And back out to the other end. This particular bridge was about halfway through the whole route, and along the way we ran into this adorable family. These guys planned really well ahead in advance. When their little guys got a little tired from riding their tiny Tykes bikes, they were able to hang those bikes on the back of the trailers, and Mom and Dad got to pull them down. And the route is easy enough that pulling a bike trailer was not a problem. So to this family, we didn't get their names, but to this family, thank you for posing and allowing us to video your beautiful family. What a bunch of adorable kids. Now, in addition to the plaques, the information plaques, there are numerous points of interest along the way. This looked like it was an old cabin of some sort. There was actually a town up on this route at one point that had its own post office and a schoolhouse with 20 kids. So a pretty amazing time. People were living up in the mountains along the Transcontinental Railroad. More tunnels. Some of them have water coming out of them. Some of them are dry. But they were a cool, refreshing stop, or a cool, refreshing relief along the way. In addition to going through the tunnels with the cool air inside, a lot of the pathway has really tall pine trees on either side, and so we were riding in shade. Gee, I think maybe at least a third of the time.
So you guys can see that bridge down there? How beautiful is that? Going through the trees. We're gonna be going across that in just a minute. You can see the trail winding through the mountains over there, down the up side, and then you're gonna come down the bottom side. We'll eventually make it across that bridge right down there. I would say that the views and the scenery is absolutely stunning. As you can see, the pathway is pretty smooth. They keep it groomed and graded for everybody. Even little kids and old people can ride this trail with ease. Coming through the pine trees up here is beautiful. Well, in a minute we're going to be going across a big bridge. See through the boards. Yikes. Holy smokes, this is way up here. Look at this old steel trestle. Awesome. Smokes. It's amazing this thing is still standing.
Crazy. Yeah, I'm glad we came early.
Here's one of the tunnels where you can actually see the rock walls. It's amazing the amount of work that they performed in order to dig those tunnels. Drilling holes, putting in the dynamite, blasting it. Amazing. So you can ride up the trail, but it's mostly uphill if you go that way, and it's definitely going to be a workout. I've seen about half the people that are coming up the trail using e-bikes. You do have to pay extra for e-bikes, however. Keep that in mind. So guys, when you do this trail, I'm going to highly recommend that you bring a basic set of tools and tire patch kit with a pump. And I'm going to go through all that and show you the equipment that I brought. It's a good thing I did, because this poor chap, he had a rental bike, and the derailleur got all mangled and he couldn't turn his back tire at that point. So it's a good thing I had these tools. I was able to straighten out his derailleur for him and get him back on the road. It was pretty funny when I got to the bottom. They were calling me the Hiawatha hero, and I don't know about that. I just happened to be prepared. Now as we get into the bottom, you can see the line that we had to wait in order to take the shuttle up. Now this is another recommendation. We did this trail on a Wednesday. Now the weekends, we have heard that that line takes up to 3 hours to get on the shuttle. It's long, and it was hot, so we were all standing in the shade as much as we could. We waited about a half an hour for me to get on the shuttle. Now on weekends, you're going to wait 3 hours to get on that shuttle, and the shuttle's a good half an hour, 45 minutes back up to the top, and then you have to ride back through the tunnel to your vehicle. And once you get to the bottom, they have another snack bar with Gatorades and snacks. They also have free ice water as well. They'll load your bikes up in groups of 40. They even have allowances for trailers. So they have a couple of buses there that will fit 40 people at a time, with the truck and trailer where they put the bikes in, and they also have the bed of the truck for the trailers. This particular bus was just had room for 25 people plus the equipment and your bikes. And they try and take care of your equipment. Now here's the equipment that I took on this trip. A bicycle patch kit with a tire removal wrenches, Allen wrenches, crescent wrench, channel locks, bicycle pump, headlamp, water, and a good backpack. And that's all I took to make sure that I could do some on-trail repairs. And a lot of people don't bring that kind of stuff. If you're in the middle of a trail, then and you're broke down, it might take a while.
Here's an actual map of the trail. It's a 15-mile trail. Something to keep in mind, if you guys want to try and save some money by not taking the shuttle from the bottom all the way back up to the top, you can do that. It's a couple of miles from I-90 to the top parking lot. Then you have to ride through the tunnel, and through the tunnel at the bottom, now remember that the tunnel is 1.6 miles long, the first tunnel. So when they drop you off from the bottom to the, they're not taking you back to the parking lot, they're taking you to the bottom of the tunnel. You have to ride your bikes back through the tunnel to the parking lot to your vehicle. So what we had done is I had left my group at the very bottom, and I took the shuttle myself all the way back up through these trails to the bottom of the tunnel, and I had to ride back to my vehicle and then get into my vehicle and find my way back. And it's not the same way that you took to get to the parking lot. It's a different route, and you have to go all the way through the mountains on these back dirt roads that the buses take and get back onto your group. It is a 1 hour, 30-minute turnaround time or longer, depending on how much traffic there is. So I waited in line for a half an hour to get the shuttle, and then my group waited an hour and a half past that. So they were waiting 2 hours to be picked up. We saved $60. Now with a family with small children, you might want to consider just going ahead and paying the money per person and taking the shuttle back up to the drop-off point, and then you have to ride back through the tunnel. So that's definitely something to consider. As far as having to ride back through the tunnel as well, right here at the bottom, you can take this. It's a 20-mile drive to Wallace, but then you have to get back out onto the I-90 and drive all the way back up to the ski lodge. This route right here is a 13-mile drive to the drop-off point, and then from here it's another 5 miles back to the ski lodge. So the best route, and it's easy to get lost back in all these dirt roads, on these Forest Service roads. You can easily get turned around like we actually did. So we had to go back and ask for directions, and the fastest route was to go back the 13 miles back up to the parking lot and then go back out to the ski lodge just a couple miles up the road and then drop off our bikes. So if you're not renting bikes and you bring your own, you can go whichever way you want, but if you want to try and save that money by leaving your vehicle up here and not taking, only one person taking the shuttle up and driving back, an hour and a half turnaround time, and then it's going to be another 45 minutes or so, hour and a half to get all the way up in here and go drop off your bike. So you're talking about almost a 3-hour deal if you're trying to save money by not taking the shuttle back to the top. From this map, it also shows you how many tunnels there are. There are a whole bunch of tunnels, and they are all numbered, as well as the trestles that you're going to be crossing. And you cross a whole bunch of trestles. It's a really beautiful route.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you guys liked that. Hopefully it was a little bit of an eye-opener for you as far as how long the trail is and what's involved. And some of those recommendations would be good for you to plan ahead. Definitely do your research and look into the trail before you go up there. It was a long day. Our butts are a little sore, but it was a fun day, and we really enjoyed seeing some of the tunnels and the bridges and just being out there in God's creation. It was a fantastic day. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you guys on the next video.